Madam President, I wish first of all to thank Deputy Special Coordinator Mr. Ramiz Alakbarov and the Deputy Executive Director of UNICEF, Ms. Hanan Suleiman. I thank them both for their briefings. France, alongside the other European members of the Council, called for the convening of a meeting on the situation in the West Bank in view of the violence that has occurred in recent weeks that has produced several Israeli and Palestinian victims. We cannot ignore what is happening in the West Bank. The violence that is perpetrated there is part of a broader dynamic whereby settlement activity is continuing and settler violence against Palestinian civilians is on the rise. This situation is a direct threat to regional stability and to the viability of the two-state solutions. That solution is at the heart of the New York Declaration adopted last year, a declaration which France unreservedly supports. We are committed to safeguarding Israel's security, something that is also at the heart of our diplomatic efforts. Israel announced the launch of a large-scale military operation. At this time, France calls upon all parties to remain calm and exercise restraint. We wish to remind the Israeli army of its obligation to protect civilians. Madam President, 4 trends are converging and indeed worsening on the ground, or indicating that things are worsening. Firstly, settler violence against Palestinian people is on the rise in a climate of impunity, and that is meeting with no response from the Israeli armed forces. These acts of terror are unacceptable. We condemn the increasing targeting of women and children and the restrictions placed on movement and access to healthcare by the Israeli forces. These are all in breach of international law. Terrorist attacks targeting Israeli civilians must also cease. Secondly, Israeli settlement activity is picking up pace in absolute disregard for international law. Settlements continue to expand, as seen with the E1 project. We're also seeing the legalization of outposts, land seizure, and the demolition of Palestinian structures. All of these run counter to Council Resolution 2334. We staunchly oppose Israel's process of de facto annexation and forced displacement. France and its EU partners have taken out sanctions against entities and individuals responsible, and we will take additional measures, including sanctions and trade measures, to address the situation. Thirdly, Israel continues to weaken the Palestinian Authority by refusing to return to the authority its tax revenues and by refusing to renew correspondent banking services. These acts compromise the authority's ability to guarantee the Palestinian people with the necessary services and their ability to undertake necessary reforms. France welcomes the PA's announcement that it will hold legislative elections in November 2026 and presidential elections in 2027. We call upon all parties to guarantee the holding of elections which allow the Palestinian people to democratically express their will across the full extent of occupied territory. Attacks against UNRWA continue, as illustrated by repeated Israeli incursions into the Kalandia training center. These incursions are unacceptable. We call upon Israel to lift obstacles on the crucial work of UNRWA and to respect UN privileges and immunities. The situation in West Bank is inextricably linked from that in Gaza. Both are integral parts of Palestine. Instability in the West Bank compromises the progress allowed by the ceasefire in Gaza, as well as by the peace plan and Resolution 2803. All of this imperils the two-state solution. France decries the Israeli Prime Minister's rejection of the agreement on Hamas disarmament. That is a long-held demand on our part and something that features in the New York Declaration that was adopted last year. France commends the efforts of the US, Egypt, Qatar and Turkey to achieve this essential goal, essential that is for regional security. We call once again upon all parties to accept this agreement. Hamas must lay down its weapons. It is also crucial that the Israeli army withdraw from the Gaza Strip, that the International Stabilization Force be deployed there to support the Palestinian forces and to prepare for the return of the Palestinian Authority at full strength. Finally, humanitarian aid must be able to enter immediately, completely and at scale into Gaza as this council called for when it adopted 2803 last year, President, 1 year after the adoption of the New York Declaration, which must indeed remain our roadmap for collective action, France will continue to support efforts for the two-state solution. That is the only viable solution for peace and lasting security for all in the region. I thank you.
I thank the representative of France for the statement.